Over 50% of people now live in cities. By 2050, it will grow to 70%. That's 1 million new city dwellers a week for 38 years. How does this affect us, our communities, our environment? The way we live in cities is one of the great challenges of our time. Smart urban growth can contend with this challenge if we do something now. EcoDistricts, a nonprofit dedicated to creating vibrant neighborhoods and smart cities, annually convenes city builders and entrepreneurs, policymakers and innovators from leading North American cities for the EcoDistricts Incubator. This annual gathering cultivates solutions for sustainable neighborhoods, which are the perfect scale for innovation, small enough to improve the lives of dwellers, yet large enough to inspire green cities.
If you talk to people in Detroit, what you hear a lot lately is that we have really been planned to death. What's really resonating with me is that it's providing a process for actually accomplishing projects, for getting things done.
It's really a 3-day intensive. Portland's a great place to do it because this city has experimented in so many of the best practices, everything from streetcar to bioswales, green building, local economic development. And it's a lot of fun, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of struggle because these projects are complicated.
If I had to choose between a very polluted, hard to get to place, or I could bike to work, or I could walk to work, that's a dream.
We have a great in-migration of 20 to 30-year-olds, college educated.
I'm from a suburb outside of Boston, and just as a kid even, I was very affected by the fact that I couldn't just kind of walk to a grocery store or a playground. We had to drive everywhere.
We underestimate the competitive advantage of green neighborhood.
It pops up in independent music, and it pops up in art, and it pops up in new companies. It's everywhere.
The role of green communities and green cities, we're providing the leadership that I think is going to be, if anything, pulls, the world through this next couple of decades where, a lot of our environmental issues are going to come home to roost. I think a lot of that leadership is going to have to come from cities.
It brings the focus down to where people live, work, and play. And ultimately, that's where the change is going to occur.
So this is Hannah Springs Park. And it's a theme as a more reflective space that treats stormwater as an essential feature of it.
That's what this neighborhood wanted. I mean, the residents said, we will help take care of it. So there's a lot of ownership of the park here, because it's pretty fragile.
It's an important challenge to figure out how to communicate, how to effectively engage people in the conversation. EcoDistricts is a doorway, it's a portal, essentially, to other things.
Neighborhoods that give people a real sense of place, quality of life, that help them to be resilient in their households, to help insulate them against high energy prices, to help them interact with the natural environment. My job is to help create those things.
When I think about sustainability, when I think about resilient communities, when I think about wanting, first and foremost, I think of social justice, I think of racial justice. I lead with the equity piece.
This tale of two cities. We're creating this well-invested and robust downtown, and then we have these neighborhoods that are languishing, and that really bothers me. That is my challenge.
I think that the EcoDistrict model represents something that is, I think, invaluable for people, which is just how to start, how to get something started.
You have to start with options. And what we had to do is have a variety of options, and it's like a funnel. How do you screen options without blowing tons of dollars? Does it even have the potential to pencil here?
I think the strength of the EcoDistricts framework is stepping outside of the municipal infrastructure and saying, think about your other stakeholders. How do you get things done through others? Because I think, like most municipalities, we don't have bags of cash.
We have to think more creatively, be more innovative. We have to think more about collaboration and leveraging.
Each place really has to start with the fundamentals of how long do we want to be together, what is it that we're trying to accomplish, and what assets and how rich is the ecosystem of players that ultimately need to be aligned to do the work. So it's not a one-size-fits-all.
I hope what green neighborhoods are doing is really kind of setting an example of what's possible.
2 projects in 6 months. that's exciting. That's something that people can really get their arms around.
People in Cleveland need to hear about this. They need to know about this. They need to see what other people are doing.
I was just really struck at one point by the generosity of spirit that I felt in the room with everybody who's here working towards, kind of a larger common goal. And it was really important, I think, for me and for our team to feel like we're not alone.
There's this framework that says we can look at things from an environmental perspective, but we also can look at it from a social perspective. And those two blend together. We in Oakland don't have to try and reinvent it. We can learn from the best practices that are out here.